already, you can put a password after the fact, but not before because otherwise it can't stream. Because what it does is it basically the streaming server joins the chat as a invisible participant.
There you go. Now it's up.
So
Now it's
I
up.
just stopped putting
Yay.
passwords on mine, period.
Yeah.
so
I got a commercial going
how you
right
gonna
now.
do it.
Skip the ad and
We're
we'll
live.
be
Skip the
live.
ad. Skip the ad. You're taking my money right out of my pocket, brother.
You mean the money of which YouTube only gives you like what? Maybe a cent.
Like a little bit of nothing. Yeah.
More than I get.
A cent of what they get overall, which is probably a couple $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Well, there's another USCCA app that I've been, seeing all day for the last 3 hours, and it's like, I already have the commercial memorized, so.
Could be a Dr. Squatch ad.
Yeah, they took me off the Dr. Squatch list. Damn.
Yeah, well, I think it's the UCAA, rotation right now.
I got the
the
Laura Trump
UCAA.
ad.
Did you? I get the Trump ad every once in a while. And most like 90% of it is Dr. Squatch is what I get though.
Yeah, one of the 3 ads that they rotate.
Mm-hmm.
If I could get like a gun manufacturer's or like a gun shop / distributor advertisement and like the USCCA on GunTube, I wouldn't have to worry about GunTube. It would just fucking run.
Mm-hmm.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
I'm working.
Talk to Glock.
Ooh, yeah.
No, me and Glock don't get along.
You're getting turned down money? Don't turn down
There we
money.
go. Now I go. Well, shit. Now I completely screwed up because I went to
Money's
view
better
and
than
watch
pride.
page.
Huh? That's on me.
I went to view on watch page.
Don't
took me
turn
off
it
my-
off.
I'm not sure if I can. Okay, there we go. Oh, now we started live again. Apparently,
I don't think we ever went off.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think so. Oh, wait a second.
I've got the YouTube chat up in another window, sitting here watching it. So
Yeah, I got it up in another window here on my on my machine. It hasn't gone anywhere.
So I always pull out the chat too. But so yay, we may be up and running, kind of, sort of, maybe,
kind of.
whatever.
I can
I
check
see-
right now. Do you want me to?
I can see my little
It
icon
looks good to
blinking
me.
at me. Yeah.
It says you're
I
live.
can see it.
We got 12 people out
Blurry
there
right now,
watching
but-
this, man.
You got people watching this thing? Why the hell are
Yeah.
people watching this thing?
Well, Snob's wife is on there because I'm guessing Snob fell asleep.
Yeah, where the hell is Snob? Did he fall asleep?
Yeah, Snob's supposed to be on here, Snob's wife.
Go wake his ass up. He didn't have his own show. He could at least show up for mine.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hell,
So
what the hell's going on, everybody out there in the chat? Let's see who we got out there.
hey everyone.
What do we got out there? We got 38 Super Partisan. We got Gizzard Gary out there in here. We got Snob's wife, unknown user. I don't know why it does this because I saw Weston out there.
Weston
We got
Probst.
Guitar Man. Yep, we got Guitar Man Pete is out there. Ozzy Osbourne's out there. Woof.
Okay, what's woof mean?
Barking at the moon.
Okay, all right.
the Ozman.
Well, I know it's the Ozman.
Kingpin is out there and in here.
The
Quintek is
Ozman.
now out there and in here. So we're live. Welcome to Dumpster Fireside Chat number 31. And we have a distinguished panel, no topics, and I feel like crap. So we're going to go as long as we go, and then we're going to just go away. So run down the panel here and say hi. Limtech, how are you, sir?
I am just fine, sir. I'm sorry to hear that you're under the weather tonight.
Yeah, the wife brought home a cold last weekend, and I've been kind of fighting it all week, and it's hitting there. The drywall patches, the hole is cut out. I haven't gone and gotten any drywall yet. I'm still debating on whether I want to cut another hole and get that round out of the bottom of the cavity. So there you go, Guitar Man. You happy?
Well, if you cut the one hole out, you should be able to just reach across and grab it.
No, because it felt when I tapped on where it had not quite embedded itself in the backside of the other one before I opened it up. I heard it fall down and into the cavity. So
okay, yeah. Never mind.
It's what, 2.5 feet down. So,
yeah, it's down on the floor now, basically.
So do we need to send you a couple of Kevlar panels from an old vest or something, just in case?
Nah.
Just checking.
I'll be much better now, and we'll get into this.
He's gonna drop some AR 500 steel down inside that wall, so you can at least hear it go ding.
That trigger was a damn nice 1911 trigger because it went bang real quick.
They do make bulletproof drywall. It's
Really?
super expensive.
Oh yeah, I'll bet. But Night Strike is here. He's working feverishly on GunTube. Other than that, how are you doing?
I'm doing. How you doing, buddy?
Well, we had a little bit of an eventful week, but we're getting by.
Awesome.
But yes, I have to remember because I went and looked at my analytics, and we'll get into that. And that video kind of blew up, and why?
Because you are kind of a big deal.
I am kind of a big deal. But thanks for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
Especially when you almost blow body parts off.
Yeah, I was following a couple of the safety rules, and they worked as intended. Nobody got hurt. Kingpin, how are you, sir?
Oh man, if I was any better, I'd be 5 people.
You don't want to do that. You're not going to be able to afford the taxes where you're at.
yeah. Never mind. I'm doing slightly okay then.
Yeah.
That's probably
if
still
you even start
taxable
talking
here.
about your, I'm sure it is. I'm sure you're going to get that slightly okay fee in your mailbox.
Yeah. Maryland.
All right. Well, thank you for coming in, brother.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Mm-hmm. And a surprise edition, I believe the first time on the show is Mr. Roll Call, and his significant other couldn't decide whether Roll Call had farted or if it was the garbage can that needed to be changed. So, how you doing, Roll Call?
Thanks for having me. And it was the garbage.
Sure, it was.
It was.
I like how
the garbage.
I like how you're not sure what it was until you went and checked.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have a distinguished smell and pinpoint the operation because I can't smell my own ass.
At least you didn't blame your feet.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say something. Have you guys watched any of Roll Call's latest videos? Now he's added in a door slamming shut in his intros.
Thank you, Night Strike. At least somebody watches my videos.
Yeah, so I
gotta
caught
admit,
that the other day. It was hilarious.
I've been lax in watching anybody's videos lately. So
I'm still waiting for the AR Schneck build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all are.
Well, he can't do that on YouTube anyway, so he can build it and then show it off, but he can't build it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. You just got to put that on full 30 and just edit the rest of the stuff out.
Yep.
I put it on guntube.org.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Roll Call. And last and certainly not least is Mr. Gizzard Gary, and give us a sub count update.
Last I knew, the sub count was 606. So thanks for everybody who's trying to spread the word, and thanks to all my new subs. I appreciate it all. Thanks for the invite. Let's have some fun.
I'm gonna say this, and pretty sure that most of the people in my chat are also subs of yours, but if you're not a sub of Gizzard Gary, hold on. If you're not a sub of Gizzard Gary, get your ass over there and sub to Gizzard Gary, because he is genuinely one of the nicest people on YouTube.
Well, up until you said that,
Yeah.
now I gotta go on sub. Oh, man, killing.
I mean, other than he likes to give people the bird.
Oh, okay, well then in that case, then we'll stay something.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to talk. So I'm sorry if I'm coughing into everybody's ears. But I just put in a cough drop, so hopefully it'll get better. But yeah, if you're not subbed to Gizzard Gary, you should be. And I tried Gizzard. I got over there. Damn it. Oh. I actually sent an email to a certain bigger channel who's known to do things for smaller channels, and it didn't happen for you, apparently. And
I appreciate the effort.
and then I pushed it out on my Instagram, but you know as well as I do, there isn't a ton of crossover. So I really hoped that I'd get you some pushing that out there. The post got 200 and some likes, but you didn't get 200 and some subs out of it. So all you dirty bastards that are over there on Instagram and don't transfer over to YouTube and hit a sub that you don't even have to watch if you don't want to, though you should, because the guy goes out of his way to put out good content and host all kinds of chats. Hosts a 2-hour chat on Friday nights, and when he gets his schedule back, he'll be doing a 4-hour chat on Sundays. I mean, Jesus, you can't get much better for free.
And anybody can be on that one.
Mm-hmm. So, and Seven Wonders is out there. Rodney Peters is out there. And I haven't seen Georgia Trucker, but if you're out there and you just haven't commented yet, thank you, sir. He's my newest patron.
Yeah.
So I'm up to an even 10 now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
I'll be
now,
rolling in Gizzard Gary money here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I have just found out why the TSO officers at the airport are such morons. So I got it. So
Okay.
I got a thing here for Phoenix International for a TSO officer. So the applicants must meet these qualifications in order to be further evaluated for a TSO hiring process. Have a high school diploma, general education diploma (GED), high school equivalency test at HISET, or test assessing secondary completion (TASC) credential, or at least 1 year of full-time work experience in the security industry, aviation screening, or as an X-ray technician. No diploma needed.
So like any kind
Bing.
of security. So like any kind of security.
As long as it's in the security industry.
So they could go work for Pinkerton or Burns or
Exactly.
something like that for a
Yep.
year.
As long as it's a full-time for a year.
With
That's a
no high school.
stricter application process than the Baltimore City Police Department. And that's not even a
true.
joke. That's real.
Hell, if that's all they need, I'm
That
in.
is true.
We've had a late entry into the panel. Budget, how are you doing, sir?
Just wonderful. I just got home from work, and so that explains the big smile.
I'm free.
Well, thanks.
Yep, I didn't have to work at 12 tonight.
That's always good.
Although the overtime on the holiday
Oh.
week would have been awesome.
Is it a holiday weekend?
I'll do that.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah, I'll do that Tuesday.
What?
And I already did it last
Columbus
night
Day.
too.
Columbus
So
Day.
two 12-hour shifts during a holiday week makes
Columbus
Mike a happy
Day.
boy.
Are we still doing Columbus Day? I thought Columbus was.
Well, actually, I guess depending on who you talk to, it's either Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day, depending on how you look at it.
Either way, I'm getting paid 8 hours straight time for not going to work Monday, so that's cool.
There you go.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, thanks for jumping in.
Hey, no problem.
And I said earlier before you got in here, I started to have a coughing fit, so I don't know how long we're going to last. I don't really have any topics, but we'll go for a little while and see how it goes. And anybody wants to jump in and talk over me, just fine, because that's less I got to talk.
Okay.
But like I said, we're trying to get Gizzard up to 1,000 because he got turned down for SHOT Show for the second year, and he really deserves to go. I mean,
They turned him down
How'd you
because he's not at
1,000?
1,000 or what?
Essentially, yeah.
That sucks.
yep. They told him not enough subscribers and not enough views on his channel. So we're doing what we can to boost him up to 1,000. So we got you about 15 or 20 in the last couple of days at least.
Yeah,
Join Poma.
all told about 50.
Oh, really? That many?
Yeah.
Damn. You're gonna owe Snob and me a lot of money then.
I know.
Hey, Giz,
Yeah.
go over to the Professional Outdoor Media Association website, see if you meet the criteria, join, pay $200, and they automatically let you in to SHOT Show if you're a POMA member.
Yeah, I've looked at those criteria. I'm not 100% sure about that, so I'm going to talk to some people.
Yeah,
you
we've
might have
talked
to get an invite.
Well, and we've talked to about getting him. I mean, Sarge and Snob and I all got ours. So, I mean, if we can add him on his crew and get him in, then
Yeah, it should be
we'll
able
do
to.
that.
If I have to sneak in his baggage, I'll do that too.
Well, as I say, worst case scenario is I'll throw you on payroll, and there you go.
There you go, Gizzard. Then you can go waltz right in there and give him the bird.
That's right.
Tell them you're an emotional support chicken.
Can I wear my
And
mask?
Mia?
Yeah, that'd be
That's right.
Mia, that's what we're looking at, is how to get him either in his crew, or if we can't get him up to 1,000 here, we'll get him on his crew, or Glimtech just said, throw him on his staff, and they're on the payroll, and your staff at a gun store, you can waltz right in there.
That's right.
So I was kind of hoping that Pickle would join in, because he's our California guy, and
Poor soul.
I don't have anything up. I don't know anything about it. I didn't look into it. So they got a bunch of anti-gun laws signed.
I think it was like 15
And-
or something like that, or
Yeah.
5 or something.
And I thought it would be on the gun feed, but apparently they took the day off. So there's nothing up there.
I haven't
you
checked that one out yet.
Did
All
you
that
check the
stuff
truth
out.
about guns?
Well, yeah, I guess Yesterday, I know somebody said there the one that actually went through was, I guess now it was a one handgun a month. Now it's going to be one firearm a month.
It's one firearm a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And aren't they making you get background checked for quote unquote precursor parts?
Yep. That's
Like
the other thing.
basically any part?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, anything you wanted to do a spring, pretty much anything that goes into a gun. So springs, triggers.
That shit.
Grips.
I don't see how that shit could possibly hold up in court.
Well, it's not going to. They just haven't filed on it yet.
Even
because
the
I guess-
Ninth Circus.
Yeah, it doesn't. That doesn't take effect until I think 2022 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a ways away, and guaranteed that's going to be tossed. There's no way two ways about it. Just like the
Especially.
just like the bump stock.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say just like the bump stock BS. If you can't regulate accessories. Come on, give me a break.
Especially if Orange Man, the other Orange Man, not our Orange Man, if the other Orange Man wins re-election in 2020 and keeps stacking the federal bench, the Ninth Circus is going to turn, and I think this stuff will be. It's already turning, and I think this stuff will be thrown out at that point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things because unfortunately, I am the Ninth Circus, being in Arizona, and
I apologize.
Well, I'll tell you what though. There's been a couple, actually 3 different cases that have gone through there that we thought for sure, well, here we go, and they all ruled 2-way affirmative on it. We're like, huh? Who the hell is this?
Yeah, no kidding.
What court is this? And then we found out that it was, they were all, Trump appointees, and they're getting rid of all the left wingers and putting on Trump appointees.
It's about damn time.
Yep.
I keep saying, people say, oh, Trump's shit for the Second Amendment. He's this, he's that, he's the other thing. He has been a godsend to us because of his court appointments, his judiciary appointments. Absolutely wonderful. If not, I don't care what else he does. He has helped our cause advance so far just by that.
Again, you can scream and carry on. I'm going to ban this, that, the other thing. But guess what? Eventually, it's going to have to go through a court.
Yep.
And it will go through a court. And since they're putting all these constitutional judges on there,
yep,
it's going to get kiboshed.
Yep.
If it goes through the court system, all they got to do is change the name of their products. Yeah, just like instead of calling it a bowl or a bong, they call it a tobacco pipe or a water pipe, and now they can sell it at gas stations. So, if for whatever reason they get tied up in some stupid California court while it's waiting to go to a higher court, change the name of your product. Instead of calling it a trigger, call it a finger mechanism or something like that.
Freedom seed delivery device or dispensing device.
There you go.
I mean, it sounds
I like that
silly,
one.
but that's exactly how you do it. You change the name of the product, and until the court catches back up with that, it's a technicality that you're getting away with.
Well, like I said, hopefully what it'll do is, as soon as it starts to get ready to take effect and they file on it, they're gonna put a stay on it right away anyway. So until it gets through the court system, and then it'll get tossed. That would be the hopeful outcome of it.
Yeah, that's the thing. The problem is it's got to get somebody's got to spend legal fees to get it into the court system. And
yeah, who can afford to be a test case, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, but there again, too, like I said, it's 2020, 2022, so there is a couple years to go here. A lot can change in those couple of years.
Yeah, and it's not, I'm not even talking about, the test case. It's just, here's government, because they're not spending their money to defend this. They're spending our money to defend this. So somebody is going to have to spend their money to fight it. And then the government, well, they're not spending my money. They're spending California money. They'll be spending California taxpayer money to fight it and keep it in there.
Plus the government's got nothing but time. You've got to take off work. You've got to do this. You've got to do that, and all these different things so you can be in court. Where the government, their lawyers are going there anyway. So if you want to sit around for 6 hours and postpone it 15 times, that's fine with me. I'm getting paid to run around here. Like Obnoxious said, you're spending money out of your pocket, and guess what? I'm spending money out of your pocket too.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I know they have Firearms Policy Coalition. I know they have a subsidiary in California, just to do that, and that's all they do. So.
Yeah, but that's money that they're that could be going to other things. Now, I realize firearms policy, they're out there to fight these things, but that's money they could be spending on other things.
Yeah, no matter how you look at it, it's still yours and my money because we're giving it to them.
And that's money that the government could be spending on other things. And this goes, we can go back to the campaign finance and where, they spent, what did I say last week? It was like $1.8 billion
Yes, Yep.
on the election
Yep.
in 2016. $1.8 billion.
Well, it was what 100 million just or 100. What was that? Or 1 billion or something like that, just on that election out the East Coast there for that one senator seat.
Mm-hmm.
That was nuts.
Yeah, they spent something like $10 million for that special election here in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what it was. That was
did.
that was the one I meant.
For
10 million
for something that the guy is gonna have to run again next year, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he has to run in 2020. It was just a substitute.
Yeah, it was a special election, and they spent $10 million fighting that. But let's not get into that. So let's talk about my interesting week and my video I put up. And the reason
how's that doing? How's that doing, by the way?
It's pretty close to, I think, 1,000 views now, something like that. Let's see. Uploads. I almost shot.
Make sure you follow up with a DIY drywall repair video.
That's what Snob said.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that you have to have your best video that you ever put out. Have to be something like that.
There.
But
it has 932 views right now, and the reach. External traffic is 77.4%, and I found this out yesterday, and we kind of dug into it. And it's from personaldefenseworld.com. They took the video and they did a little write-up on it and put it up on their website. And
freaking cool.
That's where most of the views on that video are coming from. And then they put it on their Facebook page, and there's like one guy in there that's a complete douchebag. So all the comments. There's got to
be one.
All of the comments.
There's got to be at least one, dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I knew they were coming. I knew there would be somebody somewhere that was gonna have an issue. Yes, it's my freaking show, 7. So yes, I'll talk about me as long as I can talk. But there's one guy that's douchebag.
Hey, I obviously have nothing against someone talking about themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go right ahead, brother.
Well, and here's the
bottom. The comments that I've gotten on that video, because I posted it on YouTube and then I posted it up on Instagram, and between the two of them, I've probably got over 200 comments from people, and I've responded to just about every single one of them. And surprising number of people that gave me their negligent discharge stories. And
last time I had a negligent discharge, I paid child support for 18 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And out of all the comments I've had on it, and I'm seeing what I have access to. So everything that I've seen, nobody has come on my video and told me what a fucking idiot I was, even though I was a fucking idiot.
But here's the bottom line to the whole thing. At least you're here to look at the comments, read them, and respond to them. That's all that matters.
Yep. And that's what we're getting into, is that, there are multiple layers of safety. There are 4 or 5 rules of gun safety for a reason.
This whole thing could have been worse, dude. Way worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You could have been like my uncle, who was giving a buddy a lecture on gun safety and ended up shooting his pinky off.
One of the range safety officers at one of the ranges I went to before we left Illinois, somebody brought in a scorpion, and he shot off the end of his middle finger. Range safety officer shot off the end of his middle finger.
Good job there, sport.
So you remember the video? Let's see, it was back in the 90s with a DEA officer that was at the Philly High School and shot himself in the foot.
I'm the only one qualified enough to carry
that.
this.
I actually knew him. He was actually a Philly PD officer before he went to DEA. Yeah, I knew him. I used to shoot with him. Oh, he caused so much shit in his life.
And
I just like when he cleared the classroom after the fact.
I was fully prepared for a ration of shit because, I admitted in the video I made a fucking mistake. I made a big mistake, but following the other safety rules kept me safe. But
people act like they've never been in a car accident.
exactly.
Or they never broken their lawnmower or broke their watch.
Or they've never cut themselves with a knife or burnt themselves starting the grill or anything. But
I mean, obviously it's a serious thing because it's a bullet coming out of a gun, but it's an accident.
Mm-hmm.
It's an accident. People make mistakes all the time, and the biggest thing, in my opinion, is you are man enough to own up to it, and you care enough to share it with everybody. So maybe it won't happen to somebody. If one person doesn't have a negligent discharge because of that, then you're successful.
And there are plenty of people out there that shoot more than I do, handle more guns than I do, but I'll guarantee you I shoot and handle a lot more guns than a good portion of the people out there with guns. So, like I said in the video, if it could happen to me, it could happen to anybody. And under that note, I'm going to start reading something here as far as I can get into it. Some of you may know this. Others won't. I'm not going to tell you who this is. And don't tell anybody who it is while I'm reading this if you know this story. Because at the end of it, when I tell you who this is, or if it runs into here and it tells you anything, my ND doesn't fucking matter because it can happen to anybody. Absolutely 100%. It could happen to anybody. If you think that you're never going to have an ND, I will guarantee that someday you're going to have an ND. So let's start reading. Hopefully my voice holds out. And this is May 23rd, 2018. So it's roughly a year and a half ago. My last negligent discharge of a firearm occurred 40 plus years ago in 1977, as I recall. No injury involved. I got home that night and wrote it up for my column in Guns Magazine. That entry titled Anatomy of an Accidental Discharge, or words to that effect. The term negligent discharge had not yet come into vogue. Oh, wait. Did I say last? Make that next to last. Yesterday, I was finishing a training course, and we were about to go into the final shooting qualification. A few students had been jerking their triggers. I called them into a semicircle to refresh them on the smooth, distributed, straight back press of a trigger that a trigger demands for a good shot. The trigger on my teaching pistol of the week, a 1911 45 auto, has too short a pull for someone to see from any distance, so I asked a nearby woman if I could borrow her double-action revolver for a quick demonstration. Pointing the muzzle 12 o'clock high and holding it a bit over my head so everyone could see it, I told them to watch my finger taking up the long trigger pull and the uninterrupted rise and fall of the hammer and turning of the cylinder that would lead to the surprise trigger break a marksman desires. It was a surprise trigger break, all right. Bang. A few seconds after, a .38 special round went toward the stratosphere from a current production Smith & Wesson Model 66 357 Magnum. I opened the cylinder and hit the ejector rod, and a single nickel-plated spent casing fell to the ground. How did that happen? It was a cold range. All guns empty and checked as such by the RSOs, and the shooters themselves alike. If you ever taken one of my classes, you know that we go over safety protocols for over an hour, enforce them rigidly, and emphasize layer after layer of safety nets. In the end, that's why no one was hurt when the revolver went bang instead of click. Layer 1, shooter checks the gun. This person is a very experienced, very proficient shooter. However, she usually uses a semi-automatic pistol, and this was the first time in a long while she had used and carried a double-action revolver. Layer 2, the gun had been checked by a very experienced and highly trained range safety officer before it went into the holster. Layer 3, I had glanced at the back of the cylinder and observed no cartridge rims between the rear of the cylinder and the recoil shield of the frame as it came out of the shooter's holster. Layer 4, confirmed by witnesses, I had opened the cylinder, looked down into it, and seen only empty chambers. What prevented tragedy was Layer 5, the gun pointed skyward, in an area where there was virtually no likelihood of a bullet fired straight up coming down anywhere it couldn't be safely absorbed. What happened? The stainless steel Model 66 is a silvery color similar to a nickel-plated cartridge case. 3 of us, one of us twice, had looked and failed to see it in there. On a lot of revolvers, when cartridges are ejected, they can hit the left grip panel, which blocks the exit and allows them to slide back into the cylinder. The big culprit, on my part, certainly was the look that doesn't see. Closely associated with complacency, it happens when you look for something dangerous countless thousands of times and see nothing there, programming your brain to see nothing there when something is. It's associated with the fortunately rare tragedy where a hunter who desperately wants to see a deer in the woods spots a hiker wearing gray-brown clothing with a white handkerchief sticking out of his hip pocket and concludes that he is looking right at his intended quarry, a white-tailed deer. Today's incident will become part of our safety lecture, as the one in 1977 has been for many years. No matter how many thousands of rounds a year you fire, nor how long you've been in the game, constant vigilance is the price of safety when operating any potentially dangerous equipment, from a vehicle to power tools to, yes, guns. So, do any of you recognize that story?
No.
I would guess that it's Masad Ayub, but that's only a guess.
And you win. It was Masad Ayub, who checked the gun himself. What did he say? Twice.
Yep, it happens.
Masad Ayub had a negligent discharge about 1.5 years ago. He's got more time behind a trigger than anybody in this room or in this chat will probably ever have.
He's also been doing this for how many years?
Well, at least 40.
Probably since firearms were invented.
Yes.
Well, no, he's not Bob's age.
Oh.
Or gizzards.
Hey.
So there you go. If you're foolish enough to think that you're not going to have a negligent discharge at some point, you're guaranteeing that you will have a negligent discharge at some point, because it happens. And as Dead Horse put it in the comment, and when's the last time Paul Harrell had one? He's had them. I know he's talked about it.
Yep.
I know he's talked about it. There's another guy who's got a lot of time behind the trigger. So, but as Dead Horse put it, there's two types of gun owners in this world: those who've had a negligent discharge and those who will.
Yep.
Oh, plus also, if your only answer is that's never going to happen to me, then only thing you're doing is settling it in somebody's mind that it's never going to happen to them either until it happens to them. You know, so I get it, what you're saying. I'm careful. I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. That'll never happen to me. But then I'm also telling myself, don't be an idiot and think that, because I might tell somebody, my boss's son, you know, I'm kind of like his gun big brother. And I'm not going to go tell him, don't ever worry about that. That'll never happen to you, because I don't want to have his father call me and tell me that he shot himself or shot something because he thought it would never happen to him.
Yep, and that's the big reason I put out that video, because like I said at the very beginning of that, it's not a video I ever thought I was going to have to make. and I had to make it. And well, you don't have to accept my fatalistic logic. You just have to accept, the real world. So, it's not a video I ever thought I had to make. If you told me, a year ago or a year and a half ago, or a little over that, when I started up this YouTube channel, that, in October of 2019, I was going to be making a negligent discharge video after just having had one, I would have said, there's no freaking way. There's no way. But there I was in October of 2019 making a negligent discharge video after I just had one. So, and like I said, it was, and I thought Squib had left a comment on there, and part of the reason was I was switching up filming how I was going to film a video, and I was trying to get a little more in depth with it, and I didn't follow checking that it was unloaded.
It could have been far worse, though.
Yes. Yep. Could have been far worse. I could have had it pointed
somewhere where someone got hurt.
It could happen where someone got hurt. It could have.
Or it could happen in a residential area like I am, where you got a house both sides of you, and they probably end up calling the police. And you have to explain to them what happened.
Yep.
That one from firecracker.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about, anybody calling that there's gunshots on my property, because I can hear them on either side of me too. So and somebody likes to get out there with a little thing of tannerite every once in a while. But yeah, I put out that video because I wanted everybody to see that it could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. It could happen to Masad Ayub. It could happen to anybody here in the chat, anybody out there in the text chat.
There hasn't been a LE range qual that I haven't had at least one. And those are professionals.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And every single time, there's always at least one coming out of the holster, going into the holster. Too soon, too late. It happens.
But one of the most important things, I think, is you had it pointed in a safe direction. That's one of the more important rules out there, because even if you don't think the gun could go off, sometimes it does. And in this case, you were okay.
Mm-hmm. I have never pointed a gun anywhere other than a safe direction when pulling the trigger. I've never done
Now, it may be time to buy that clearing bucket now.
Might be, but I wasn't pointed at the clearing bucket.
Oh, you have one? Okay.
Yeah,
No, I don't.
Since you're
I don't,
experienced at it now, we should start getting desk pops.
Yeah. Yes.
We're waiting for it.
But yes, I was, and to answer Ohio for you, I was in the basement, and the other side of the wall was another room, but it dissipated most of its energy before it got through the first layer drywall. Because, like you see in the video, if you go over to the other side, it just looks like a nail pop in the drywall because it hit there, and it didn't even break the paper on the second on the inside. So,
in most cases, I would agree. There are some that don't, and even SWAT guys. We have a few of those up here, and they're probably worse because they're doing it all the time, so they're a lot more laxed. At least the guys that shoot, a couple times, 3 times a year, 4 times a year, they're a little bit more conscious of it. But that's just the finding we have around here.
Yeah, and that's what G's saying out there. That goes to, any profession. There's some cops that are gun guys, and there's some cops that are doing it for a job. So you've got some that are going to go out there and train and shoot all the time, and you got others that are going to go and do their qualification, and that's it.
Right.
Yep, and I see a bunch of those around here. You know, like I said, we have a bunch of them that are like that. But then again, we do have some gun guys, but most of the ones, like I said, most of the ones I've come in contact with have been the ones that are doing it on a fairly regular basis, and they're just a little bit more relaxed with the rules than the others.
No regrets. Tattoo artists don't make mistakes. Tattoo artists do their damnedest not to make mistakes. That's why they have you check. They have you check and double check before they start.
Anybody
Putting ink in.
anybody who says tattoo artists don't make mistakes haven't seen very many tattoos.
Yeah, right.
There's that too.
How many mistakes have our country's best engineers working at NASA made?
Oh,
I
good
mean-
Lord. No one knows.
Yeah,
We lost
there's
we lost something one time because somebody calculated something in kilometers instead of miles. Let's see.
We had 3 astronauts burn up inside the capsule on the ground.
Yeah.
And you had, then you look at all the bridge collapses and the bridge failures, and I mean that's multiple people working on those things. So one fat old guy in his basement with the gun, what chance did I stand? It was bound to happen. But so, like I said, I had like 200 plus comments on that video across Instagram and Facebook, and it's got about 2,000 views between the two of them. And by and large, it's been positive. The only negative I've had at all was from that personal defense world over on their Facebook page. There was one real douchebag over there, and a couple of other. Oh, that's never going to happen to me. You were an idiot. Okay. Hope you don't shoot yourself in your foot when you have it.
That'll be somebody. That'll be Sarge's next call. Gunshot wound to the foot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Never going to happen to me. You were an idiot. Okay. Hope you're wearing bulletproof shoes. So, other than that, we've got an Indianapolis gun store was shut down. Firearms seized by the ATF. So, roll call. Are you unemployed now?
No, that wasn't me, man. We just had an audit and we passed with flying colors.
Now, I would imagine you being there or you being in the same state, not that far from it. What, 2.5, 3 hours maybe where you're at?
Yeah, 3 hours.
Indy?
Yeah.
And being actually in the business and being in the same state. Have you heard about this up there?
Yeah, I read the article. There was a ton of mistakes that were made. Critical mistakes that can be avoided, mistakes that shouldn't even have happened. But, I mean, when you play with fire and you mess around with the government, just like we've talked about, man, the government doesn't eat and they don't sleep. And we eat, we sleep, and we make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And the government never owns up to their mistakes. But when they find you with mistakes on your books or on your 4473s, that becomes a huge problem.
What is the old saying? The government always gets its man, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even if it's the wrong one.
Even if it's the wrong one.
When I went through the article, they had sold handguns to people out of state, which is a no-no.
Wow. Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They had multiple issues.
Multiple. And I mean, like, they sold like tons of guns from people out of state. And if anybody knows, except for the liberals, I don't know, but you cannot buy a handgun out of state. It's impossible. You have to be a
Well, it's
resident of that state.
not
Unless
impossible. You have to have it
unless you're an
shipped
FFL.
to. Yes, you have to
Yeah.
have it shipped to an FFL in your state. So you can
Yeah.
buy it out of state, but you can't have it shipped to you. It has to go through a federal firearms license, and everybody out there in the chat probably knows this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, see, now
you
there are ways around that.
But as you know, as doing it and transferring the gun to the person out of state, that's a no-no. You cannot do that. You can't have them come in there, fill out their 4473, do their background check, and then give them the firearm. It doesn't work that way. That's a big no-no. There's a lot of things that were wrong with their paperwork. The paperwork part of it is crucial. It's very crucial. It's critical that you check the boxes, that you put the dates on the paperwork, the transfer dates. I mean, there's a lot that goes along with it. Being on the other side of the counter, you know, you just fill out your paperwork and you're like, the hell with it. You know, they got to deal with it. But now that I'm on the opposite side of the counter and explaining 4473s to people, it's critical, man. It's nothing to play around with. And when they come and audit you, man, you better be ready, because if it's the smallest thing, they're gonna ding you with it. And just like this place down there in Indy, man, that cost them their license, and they're never allowed to sell firearms ever again. That's how bad their paperwork was, and that's how bad the violations were. That's huge.
It's yours.
The
Sorry,
ATF took their license, and approximately 390 firearm silencers and receivers, including rifles, shotguns, and handguns, were seized.
Oh wow, and they were Class 3 too. Ouch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Major ouch.
Prior to the seizure, an indictment was filed against Scott Janung, a convicted felon. Police made several undercover gun purchases from Janung, who allegedly processed the sales himself. Officers say they observed him carrying a firearm on his person during those sales.
Oh man. Real quick, just out of curiosity, your shop, do you guys still do yours by hand, or you actually do it by computer?
We do it both. When you fill out the form, you can fill it out on the computer, but as we fill out the form, like all the stuff that we transfer, we do that by hand, and then we enter it in by computer. So it's a little bit of both. That guy was a felon. Like,
because like I said, I like doing it by the computer, because you have to answer all the boxes, or otherwise it won't let you go to the next page.
And
so
William Keller says he lives in Indy on the south side. It was G2 Sports Products. And here, according to the ATF, the store knowingly transferred handguns to an out-of-state resident, made false entries in records, failed to report multiple sales of handguns, and knowingly transferred firearms to a prohibited person.
Yeah, for people that don't know, when you
Burn them.
when you buy multiple handguns at one location, there's a thing that comes up. It's called a Clio. The Clio automatically takes the back end of your 4473 and sends it to the ATF, the state police, and the FFL has to keep that on file. You have to send that stuff to them. We mail ours to the state police, and then we email it to the ATF. And if you do not do that, guess what? You're in big trouble, because that's just the way that goes, because it's a multiple gun purchase.
Yeah. And it's a multiple gun purchase if it's within 5 days. So if you go into the store on Wednesday, buy one on Wednesday, and buy from the same store on Friday, that's technically a multiple. You got to send the form in.
Yep.
And then if you're on a border state like I am, if you do 2 AR receivers, that's an automatic multiple that has to go to ATF, that has to go to the FBI. If you buy a handgun and a pistol, and it's a handgun and a rifle, and the rifle's an AR, Oh, that's a multiple that could go to the ATF and FBI as well.
Yep. And
I've never
there's
had any problems buying two receivers at the same time.
you're not in a border
You're not
state.
you're in a border state.
No.
That's why.
Okay.
Midnight. It sounds
Yeah,
like they had an undercover sting going on them, probably because they'd had stuff. And this is where they say that they don't go after the bad actors. And I don't know, I'm just know what I'm reading here, and more may come out of this. But it sounds like they took their FFL, they shut down their business, they confiscated, their inventory. But right now, what it's saying in this article is it looks like just the one guy that was the felon with the gun is the only one that's doing any time. So I don't know what the whole story is other than what's in here. But I'm all for, if you're gonna, we've got the laws on the books. Let's use them. Let's stop.
Whoever
trying to come
license
up with
holder
new
is
stuff.
going to get fried.
Yeah. Whoever's the license holder, they're not going to per se go to jail, but they're going to be in financial ruin at this point. Maybe they would rather financially bankrupt gun shops than throw people in jail. But if you're a dumbass felon like this guy, you're going to jail. You're toast. But this guy, whoever holds that FFL, is going to be financially bankrupt. He'll never be able to sell firearms again. And I mean, they could prosecute this guy up to the part where he loses all his rights too, because he's letting this stuff go under the table. He's false. People don't understand this. When you sign your 4473, when you go through, that's automatically a federal document. You can't doctor it. You can't lie on it. That's automatically a federal document. I've had to explain that several times to customers. Oh, I'll just scratch that out, or I'll just fill out another one. No, it's a federal form. If we get audited for it, we get in trouble, we get fined, and we could lose our FFL. With my company, I know certain stores that have lost their FFL. They've lost their FFL for this year and had to fight to get it back because they did not some of the same things, but just their paperwork was loose, as we call it. It's loose. So, I mean, it's a rigorous process. And you guys out there think it's just bullshit filling out a 4473. You got to look at it this way. If you're lying on forms, if your FFL doesn't want to do it, you're basically going to have that place shut down. And where are you going to get firearms, either from or transferred to?
You just lose your mic, roll call.
Yeah,
So
apparently,
there's really not any margin for error on the 4473s, even though people do make mistakes and can unknowingly make mistakes on their own forms, because not everyone is the sharpest tool in the bin.
Yep,
Right. And
that's very true.
G-Webs brings up, why are these still requirements when the result is not less crime? Well, most of us in here know why the result is not less crime, because they don't go after people. They've got the laws on the books, and they don't go after people. I mean, look at all the gun crime in Chicago, and look at how many people go through and look at the crime statistics and see how many of them are actually doing time for gun crimes. Nobody is doing time for gun crimes.
And again, a lot of things are stopped on the dealer end of it. Case in point, I had a guy come in. He ordered a Glock lower receiver. All fine, said well and good. Send it over for me to transfer. Comes over to pick it up, hands me his license and hands me a green card. I'm like, what's this? He's like, oh, that's my medical marijuana card. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you that. Well, guess what? Here now are your two options. One, you don't get the gun transferred to you, the receiver transferred to you because you're not allowed to be having medical marijuana because it's illegal. or 2, you fill out the 4473 and lie on it, and then I still don't transfer it to you because it's illegal. So guess what? We're now sending this back because you can't get it.
Mm-hmm.
He was not a happy camper, but it's like, hey, it's the way it is.
Yep.
But how to get around the because they do that around here, and I don't agree with it, but it's legal. We have what we call snowbirds around here, so we got people from Montana and Minnesota, Canada. I'll tell you what, some of this we have some of the most well-armed Canadians in Arizona, because what they do is they live here 6 months out of the year. They have property here, and what they do is when they come down here, they come and they get an Arizona ID. So in order for you to purchase a firearm, aka handgun, you need a valid ID. Doesn't have to be a license; it just has to be a valid ID, and that's it. And pass the background, and they do that all the time. And most of the Canadians, some of them take them back, most of them don't. Most of them stay here, and they keep their guns here when they're here.
Yeah.
But I know there's been quite a few that I know there's 1-2 that actually go back and forth from Illinois in the wintertime, and they carry back and forth all the time. And he has a FOID card. He doesn't have any of that crap.
Well, then he can't technically have them in Illinois.
Nope. But don't get, it's one of those, if you don't get caught, but
you're coming in really tinny, like you're coming through your phone or instead of your headphones.
Is that better?
Nope. Are you on your phone? Or are you on the computer?
Try jumping out and jumping back in.
Did you really just tell him to turn it off and turn it back on?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, how Noxious One knows how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that better?
There you go. Yep.
There
you
we
go.
go. Thanks for an ID.
Much better.
Anyway.
So
I'm
gonna fill you in on something.
Hmm.
When you look at the Facebook articles, or when when Chicago cops, when they sit there and say that, Indiana's bullshit, we're the pipeline, what they don't understand is the reason why guns in Indiana are showing up. This is just a theory, but I think it's an awful good theory. Is people from that state, the gangsters, the shit asses, the hoodlums, they come over here, live here for a brief portion of time. They put a bill or something in their name, whether it be the light bill, the water bill, the garbage bill, go to the DMV, pick up an Indiana state ID, just an ID, not a driver's license. Come here, do that, and purchase a handgun and take it back to Chicago. I think that's how criminals are doing it. And it's not our fault, per se. It's the state's fault. It's the state's fault for implementing that. I would rather just you have to have some kind of driver's license, because you can't overcome that, because that's how these guns are getting trafficked all over to Chicago. It's because people are just coming here, putting a name or something on a bill, going to the DMV and saying, look, I live here. This is my residency now. And they're getting the guns and they're going across state lines with them. That's my theory. From the horse's mouth, I heard the try and lie. That's going to be going into effect. It should have started, where now they're going to start picking up cases for that. So if you're a felon, you're out there trying to fill out 4473s and you're lying on them and checking those boxes, guess what? You're going to get visited. You're going to get visited hard. And they're going through these files. They're going through the 4473. And they're looking for their name. They're looking for the felons. So be prepared. If you think the government is dumb or stupid, they're not. They are going to find a way around every little aspect of life because they don't eat or sleep. That's the thing that you got to understand. This stuff, it can be prevented. How to prevent it without being infringed upon, I don't know. It's a hard nut to crack at this point.
So you think they're relatively upstanding citizens are coming over there and getting licenses or getting IDs and then come and buy the guns?
Yeah, because there was 2 guns from our shop that showed up there. I had the Chicago police come to the shop. I think that's how they're getting these guns. They're getting the people that can pass a background check. They don't live in the state of Indiana. They're coming here, living with so-and-so, putting a bill in their name, going to get in Indiana, just a regular state ID, and saying they're a resident here. And then they get the gun, and boom, cross the border.
So they're making straw purchases.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're felons. They just haven't been caught yet.
Pretty much.
So they're not upstanding young citizens. They're just people that haven't been caught and had a felony yet.
Correct. And it's tough because you can't stop it.
Yeah. It will come around in the end.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the lie and buy aspect of it. I mean, I've had people come in there and fill out a 4473 and get denied. So then you look at, well, why did you get denied? Well, I had a felony back in 1996. Well, you just lied on your 4473. That's a felony. You see some crazy stuff in that business.
I'm actually dealing with one now that's on delay from a felony that he had 20 years ago, but it was set aside because I saw all the paperwork for it. So we're sitting here, but
it was set aside, so he's good to buy.
Yeah,
they didn't clear it out of Nick's.
Yeah, they haven't cleared it out of Nick's yet. The funny part about it is he has all the paperwork from the court, from DPS, and the FBI saying that everything has been cleared and everything is good to go. It still isn't cleared out of Nick's. So it hasn't been cleared. They're saying it has, but it hasn't. So what's going to happen is that's going to sit for the 3 days. It's going to still say delayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to transfer it anyway because it's going to be good to go after the 3 days.
Because you've seen the paperwork that it's
So I know it's good.
And even now, when he fills his out, because it's been cleared, so it's been set aside, so it never happened.
Everything's a no, correct? Yeah, because you actually look in there, and if you actually look in the one question, have you ever been convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor, domestic violence, blah 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 blah. See the exemptions, and when you do it on the computer, it actually gives you the exemptions on the side, and you can go through. Well, if it's been removed or denied or set aside or expunged, then your answer is no. So, but so that would he answered correctly. It was a no. It was supposed to be no across the board because if there's a yes anywhere on there, it's an automatic denial.
One yes.
Yep.
The rest knows, and one NA for most
correct.
Of them.
Like I said, that's what I like about the computer, because the computer, when you go and check the boxes, you have to check the boxes, and if you don't check them, it won't let you leave the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everything got it. Everything got to be there. But yeah, so like I said, he's in that boat, so it'll sit there. So I told him
3 days, and then
So I can transfer it to him on Friday. But like I told him, I said, well, I have a CCW class coming up on the 2nd of next month. You need to be in it. Because then you get the CCW, then you don't have this problem anymore.
Yep. Yep. If he was in California, he'd have to wait, the 30 days anyway. So
I think what you meant to say was 30 years. Or when hell froze over.
Look at this. We've been joined by royalty himself, Oklahoma's gun snob.
Morning.
Oh, and G-Webs. G-Webs is coming in here. He's been going crazy out there in the chat. So now he's coming in here to
we got the big dogs in here now.
Mm-hmm. So we've been joined by two royalty. One, Oklahoma's gun snob, and the other is actual royalty, G-Webs. How you guys doing?
Good. Are we like anti-gun now, or like pro 4473? I don't know what we're doing.
Well, we're pro working in the system that we have to work with. No, I don't think that this gun shop in Indiana was just paperwork mistakes. It sounds like they had other issues.
But it's the places like that give the rest of us law-abiding people bad names.
Exactly, and I think we should call out the people that are.
It was called
Go ahead.
It was called C4 Sports in Indianapolis. Or is that G2? Sorry.
G2 Sports Products, and they are now no longer in business. And Ohio wants to know, was that person delayed or denied on the next check? William Tech.
Delayed. And he's still showing delayed. Yeah, actually, when I ran it, I knew it was going to get delayed anyway because it went to researching for like 5 minutes, almost 10 minutes. So that's a pretty good indication it's going to go delayed.
So what are your thoughts on this, G? You've been out there in the chat on this whole thing, because like I said, the article makes it appear that they weren't just paperwork errors. There were multiple failures at this place, including paperwork errors, and not they were selling to prohibited persons. And
All right, so this is their site over here. I think G2 Sports Products, right?
Yep.
Product Spotlight, weekly specials. Do they have an About Us?
yeah, up there in
Oh, it's on gunstores.net. No, they don't. It's maybe veteran-owned, law enforcement security for 30 years. I don't know. I wanted to see if I'd been to it. I don't think I've been to it. But who are we listening to? The news, the media, who's super aware, really accurate, and they're not connotative at all. Or are we talking to cops who are trying to justify their arrest, who are they have to say that the person's guilty because they just arrested him. They can't go, yeah, we arrested this guy, but he's probably innocent. That's never good. That can't happen. That's not why they arrested him. So we're only listening to his accusers, I think, right? And I'm not trying to justify nothing, or I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. But if the guy
it was an article on. It was an article on bearing arms.
Well, if the person that is involved here is a confirmed convicted felon selling firearms, that in and of itself is enough to lose your license.
The employee? Do you get vetted when you work for a gun company? I've never been vetted.
You are supposed to.
I've
Yes,
never
you
been
are supposed to
vetted.
be vetted. They're supposed to vet you and do a background check prior to your employment.
Yep.
That says that in the 40 the FFL.
Yeah, it says it in
Yes.
our FFL at my work. Yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah, it does. In my when my investigator came and I was talking to him, he goes, "You need to make sure you need to vet your employees, and everybody has a background check done."
So this looks like the shop. Somewhere around here at least. So that's my take. I'm not going to burn anybody at the stake. I've seen shops get their licenses taken away for having ILL instead of IL because the abbreviation officially has 2 letters now instead of 3. And if an 85-year-old person comes in and hasn't written very much since, they used to write ILL all the time. Something overlooking something like that can be technically a paperwork error. Again, this is a burden that I think doesn't need to exist as far as the 4473s. So I'm not going to just. My tendency isn't to jump on any kind of position that enforces the one time. I mean, if this was something that happened all the time, if bad guys were so bad at being bad that they went into legitimate businesses with their names and social security numbers all over it, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, great. Bad guys are really stupid. So just put a sticky tape out there. They'll get all stuck in it, and then we can figure out who the bad guys are. But this could just as easily have been somebody who didn't understand, or maybe was, I don't know. There's like a million things. I don't know. I just don't. I tend to not want to justify 4473s. And in Indianapolis, you're telling me that that's the place they're going to go from Chicago? That it's way easier to drive. What is that? 2.5 hours?
I mean, it's about 4 hours from Chicago.
Oh, excuse me. It's easier to drive 4 hours round trip, or is that one way?
One way.
Okay, so it's easier to drive 8 hours than to get wherever they get truckloads of cocaine and opium and heroin, all that stuff. So no, yeah, it's easier to drive 8 hours to a little shop in West Side Indianapolis. Out of state. I don't know what people come there for the Indianapolis 500 or maybe the NRA show. Audits happen every year, so all this stuff happened in the last year. Or is it? It's not a brand new shop, right? Audits happen, like I say, every year or more. I'm sorry, it might be every 5 years or more if they have suspicion. So this was the first time they did a random 5-year audit, and bam, 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 or it was this one of the things. I mean, this is the same ATF that walked guns into Mexico. So is this some sort of sting? I don't know. They're not going to tell us when it's a sting. Their job is to reinforce their jobs, right? Or to reinforce the reason for their existence. So they can put up stings that catch a bunch of people on errors. I want to see what the errors are. And if it turns out that it's all criminals and stuff, great. Then this is one of the few examples that shows how tyranny can, be a good thing sometimes.
Well, it looks like they surrendered their FFL.
I'm sure.
I know
It shouldn't have much of a choice.
This was years ago. But I know people that have been in the massive business of guns, like massive shops that never lost their license. And I'll bet you Glimtech knows what I'm talking about, at least the one I'm talking about here in Arizona. Massive, massive.
Yep.
Lost their license every year. Every single year they'd lose their license and they'd stay running on a temporary every single year forever. That was a few years ago, but it was certainly a thing. And that's because a business that wants to stay in business, a true criminal or a true whatever that's just, hey, well, I want to keep doing this. And, if you put me in jail, I'm going to keep doing it. A real bad person or a real criminal is going to keep doing it. Somebody who's like, oh, snap, you're telling me that, you sent in somebody or inadvertently somebody did something and now everything's in thing. And then if they're going to go, okay, there was one violation and we closed a place down, that's hard to justify. But if they go, okay, we had one thing and then we went in there and found like 1 billion petty errors, so now we can say, oh, multiple paperwork errors, oh, not paying attention to their license requirements, now we have these reasons to shut them down. I'm not going to throw gun shops. You're asking the wrong guy. I can't throw gun shops under the bus.
I think it's also pretty clear that all the heroin dealers in Chicago just get all their drugs from Indiana.
Oh yeah, we knew we knew that. That's where everything, the iron pipeline, the drug pipeline, that all comes through Indiana. Probably because of the roll call.
It's probably where the Mexicans get all their heroin too.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarge brings up a great point. Arrests are made on probable cause, not absolute guilt. Trials prove guilt or innocence. So when people are arrested, then an unfair system can arrest whoever they want. It takes an unfair executive branch and an unfair judicial branch to put people in jail for whatever they want. So if a corrupt cop does something, sorry, Sarge, but if a corrupt cop does something, then a good judge will get him, right? It should stop that from happening, or should see what's going on, and vice versa. If good cops see that bad judges are doing stuff, that's part of the checks and balances, right? So they can persecute whoever they want at a federal level. That's their area of effect or whatever. But until I see a unblemished ATF who everyone can be proud of, I'm going to be skeptical of them and not the gun shop. And I apologize if I'm protecting a felon or some kind of unscrupulous jerk, but I'm going to still be on the side of gun shops over ATF any day of the week until we have a flawless ATF that everybody loves.
Yeah. Good luck. Now that place that you were talking about, that actually had at one point in time 4 separate employees with FFLs. So what would happen is, yeah. So what would happen is when we come in, they bang one, they close down for a day. Whoop, reopen the store tomorrow with under somebody else's FFL.
Sell everything to somebody else, and then now it's a different business.
Yep. They just changed it. They do the AKA or the DBA, doing business as.
Yeah. So you're telling me, so this is a place that's known to be bad, and they shut them down, and they just reopen under somebody else's FFL.
They know to be dicks, and they're super sloppy, and they don't give a shit. Like if there was a gun shop version of the Boogaloo Boys, and they're all
nice
people. Like if there was a gun shop version of them, that's them. So they're like, we'll do your rules, but we're not going to do them right. And what are you going to do about it? They're just doing it to do it. I mean, they were dicks. I don't think they were stealing nothing. I don't think they were giving anything to criminals, but I don't know. But they're certainly not cool people. They were dicks. Actually, I keep saying were. They still go to gun shows, don't they? Am I crazy? At least their stuff is still at gun shows.
They're still there. They're still there. I think they're kind of doing the gun shows. I don't know if they have the store for it anymore or not.
Yeah, I don't think they have guns anymore either. I think they're just doing all the extra stuff. So.
Yeah.
But even then, like, okay, so let's say this is the most corrupt shop ever, and all shops, if all shops are bad, and luckily the ATF is going around and keeping them in line, we have a dwindling crime problem, and those crimes are in 5 counties. So how do these other gun shops with all these rules, you know what I mean? Like I don't think those rules are what's keeping us from having low crime or keeping us from having high crime.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you there. I brought it up because if they are bad, then we should call them out for it. Now, if they, and I'm honest, I'm going off of what I had on the article, so I haven't researched it in depth. But if they're bad, then we should definitely be calling them out. And it sounds like they had at least a felon that they had there selling guns.
Yeah, so if the reports that are done are actually true, yeah, then they deserve what they're getting, and they deserve to lose their license, absolutely, because that makes the rest of the decent ones look really bad.
And it's the same thing with, the other issues that we've covered is that, as responsible gun owners, we need to call out the bad and make sure that everybody knows that the responsible gun owners don't support the bad, whether it's a bad shoot or a bad gun shop or what have you. I mean, am I wrong there?
No, not at all. Absolutely. Same way with law enforcement. You got to call out the dirty cops. Got to call out the dirty judges. You got to call out these dirty ones and bring them to light. Get them out of there, because it's only gonna bring down everybody else. And as I said, you have one gun shop here that's on the other side of the country, and then they're all like that. Same way, and Sergeant, I'm sure will agree too. You got one bad cop. Well, they're all bad. It's not just that one; it's everybody.
Oh yeah, that's what they like.
Yep.
That's how the other side is gonna paint us. Now Pickle is out there. Pickle, you've got an invite if you want to come in here and talk to us about the California laws.
Yeah, like I said, exactly like I said, get those morons with the ARs. Oh yeah, we're gonna strap them on our back and we're gonna walk into the police station. Yeah, okay. Well, that's not like the rest of us normal people don't do that. But those morons make everybody look bad.
Yeah, like everybody that was defending the guy that did the Walmart walk with his armor on and his AR up front.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those. Well, yeah, were you legally allowed to do it? Yeah. Was it
a good
stupid
idea
to do? Absolutely, it was stupid to do. You're a freaking moron, guy. Use a little bit of sense here. I'm not even going to say common, just a little bit of sense.
Mm-hmm. Nope, and he went in there. He got the reaction that he was looking for, whether he was doing a Second Amendment audit or whatever he was doing. He got the reaction that he was looking for. He got his attention, and it blew up on the rest of us.
And like I said, if I would have been a pro 2A cop, I would have left him go, walked outside, took my shirt off, waited till he came out, and beat the shit out of him, just for principle.
All right. Anybody have anything else? I did think, in case anybody isn't on Instagram and didn't notice, Military Arms Channel got banned from Instagram.
I saw that.
How the hell do you get banned?
I have no idea.
They shut
He
them.
has no idea because
Yanked his channel. Every bit of it's gone.
Yeah, they shut the channel off. If they didn't send him anything, then I imagine it must be a terms of service, and they just didn't inform him or something. If it was a violation that was correctable, right, then they would send him something so he would be saying, like, this is why they shut me down. So either it hasn't happened yet because it's a weekend, or, which it could be, I guess, or something else. But like Gary said, I don't think anybody really knows.
No, nobody knows because
He
Instagram.
can't sign into it anymore.
Yeah, and they never give you
Good
any.
luck contacting Instagram.
You can't contact Instagram. Absolutely cannot contact Instagram. If you dig around on the internet, you can find a phone number for Instagram, and when you call that phone number, it says it's no longer supported. So, like he said, I watched a little bit of his Facebook video that he put up about it. Is if you want to get in touch with somebody on Instagram, you got to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, so you can get contact. So I don't know what happened with it. I don't know if he got, maybe if he posted something from Copper Custom on there and it had a price or something. No idea. So
I heard a little bit of chatter that it was because he bump fired one of his guns. But he's done that quite a few times. So maybe they got fed up with that.
That could be. Who knows?
Yeah, unless his bump fire video resurfaced again when he was doing it with his finger.
No, he posted another one, man. He's posted a few on his Instagram of bump firing, certain different guns, man. I've only read a little bit of the terms of service for Instagram, But I mean, maybe that's on there because it's a dangerous act or something. Is that on their terms of service? I don't know.
Oh, I would imagine.
Walking through a parking lot with a bunch of buses in it is a dangerous act too. But come on.
No, I don't know if we'll ever get the story, if he'll ever get it back. Hopefully he comes back. Hopefully we get some kind of story on it. But if you haven't seen that over on Instagram, you haven't been paying attention because it's been all over Instagram and anybody with the gun channel over there. So you can go over, and G-Web's put up a post on it that you can repost that. Who else did I see? Whose did I repost? Because I think I did one before I saw G-Web's. Well, you can go to mine. Oh, 38 Super Partisan put it up, and I reposted his. But you can go to mine, and you can repost. You can repost mine. You can repost G-Web's. You can repost 38 Super Partisan. Go over there.
So I've been looking.
Make Instagram realize that. Go ahead, G.
Well, I don't think it's going to make Instagram realize nothing. It's just that it's an effort for the humans to do something when something happens, to realize it and act, and then it's possible that Instagram will do it. But if nothing else, people can look at that and see how much wave it made when something like that happens. But more than likely, it's inadvertent. It's happened before. It happened to Brownells, and everybody said, "Let's bring them back," and they did. It's rare that they're going to shut down a giant channel for basically nothing, and not thumbing. He wasn't thumbing his nose with Instagram or nothing. They just did it. And they don't usually do that stuff permanently.
Like I said, I don't know if it, it could have been something as simple as he put something from Copper Custom on there and it had a price on it. And then Instagram said, "Oh, you're selling firearms," and bam. Because they never give you any notice on this stuff because they don't have to.
All right, so then I'm been looking because I've never heard of a law that says you have to background check your employees at a gun shop. So I've been looking, and there's a FFL holder, and then there's a thing called a reasonable person, and that's somebody that you list either when you're creating, or I guess you can amend your FFL to have people on there. And for them, you got to list their name, their social security number, their address, their country, place of birth, date of birth, race and ethnicity, sex, and then the residence. And then it sounds like you give them fingerprints and stuff. So it's basically just like being on the FFL. Yes. That's a reasonable person, and that's someone who is not defined well, but it says they have an adjusted definition in 13. That basically says a reasonable person is, in the case of a corporation, partnership, or association, any individual possessing, directly or indirectly, the power to direct or cause the direction of the management, policies, and practices of the corporation, partnership, or association insofar as they pertain to firearms. So in other words, when you create a business and it's going to be involved in firearms, you're required by the 1938 Federal Firearms Act to get an FFL, buy an FFL from the government, get permission. You have to go through the qualifications, and the person or the company, the individuals that are the company definitely are on the FFL. However, other responsible persons can be on the FFL. Now, that is not every employee of the company. So that's one thing that might be involved here that can get confused. And those people do a background check and fingerprints. They have an FBI background check. Now, I looked around, and there's nothing in ATF that I can find that talks about an employee other than in the Q&A, the FAQ section of the FFL section. It says, can I hire someone? It says, may I employ an individual who is prohibited from receiving or possessing a firearm? And then the answer is no. So there's that. But that's not the same as saying every employee must be. That just says you can't hire an employee that's this, And if you want the person to be on your FFL, they have to have a background check. So there's a gray area there. If you go to a 2016 NSSF bulletin report or whatever you want to say, they say a bunch of stuff to basically cover your butt. They're like, we're not lawyers, but you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. So it's general conduct maybe, or it's like, what's the word? Like it's generally done. But there's all kinds of stuff in here. Like this guy saying, I might make a new employee buy a gun. If they pass NICS, that's good enough for me. They have a CCW, that's good enough for me. I have many employees, and they don't need background checks. They all live their lives, and they don't need background checks. My buddy is a sheriff, and he would tell me if one of my people got locked up. That's literally how the gun shops work. It's not legal for you to hire somebody who can. Excuse me. It's not legal for you to hire somebody who cannot own or possess a firearm. So that's potentially an infraction, although I can find it in a couple of minutes here. And then as far as the industry and the ATF are concerned, you just, as long as you have somebody behind the counter that isn't prohibited, then it's a business decision. Now, you could be dumb or you could be smart about it. It also says that if the person doesn't touch firearms, if they're a janitor, if they're there for bookkeeping, then it's not part of the gun business. That's just another employee and has nothing to do with the guns. So is that, well, it said in that article, though, that the person was involved in transferring guns to criminals.
Yeah. Yeah, it said
so that part would be bad. That's different. But again, let's say you hire somebody and he doesn't tell you that and you don't know. I mean, I guess you could be that oblivious, but again, is that the bad guy, or is that all gun owners, or is that the gun shop? Or is that the ATF? I mean, who's to blame for when bad people do bad things?
Well, as far as the ATF is concerned, if you hire somebody and you don't do your due diligence to vet them, and they are illegal, it's your ass, not his. And
Yeah,
you're gonna lose your license for it.
They'll prosecute both of you just differently. They'll prosecute him for doing illegal stuff, and they'll prosecute you for different illegal stuff, right?
Yeah, they'll just pull your license. So that's just, it's just.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of a text chat with other people that are in here.
Who is that?
Yes.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, I did tag Yankee in that post.
Okay.
I tagged all the big channels I could think of, and I tagged Military Arms Channel, but apparently that one's not going to work.
Gee, you think?
You might have some problems there.
Mm-hmm.
No, it would actually be kind of funny if he actually got a response back from him going, hey, thanks.
Well, he's on his secondary channel right now.
Yes.
Mac is.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that in the other chat. That's the reason I didn't bring it up in here. It was off topic. But
Right.
But Ben's are on that
It sounded
topic.
like-
If anybody out there knows someone who's not subscribed to Gizzard Gary, go over and subscribe to Gizzard Gary on YouTube.
Yes, and if you have an Instagram and you feel like reposting my Gizzard Gary, get Gizzard Gary to Shot Show
that you stole
post
from
that I took
38
that I
Super
took from
Partisan.
38 Super Partisan. Yes, I gave him photo credit in there. So who do y'all think ratted out Yankee?
Ratted out him doing what?
Yeah.
What did he do?
I have no idea what Yankee did and got ratted on. But go over there and go to 38 Super Partisans Instagram or go to mine and repost that and tag all the bigger channels and get Gizzard Gary into SHOT Show.
So what's the criteria for SHOT Show so you can get a pass? What is I never looked it up.
There's lots of them.
First thing is a federal background check.
No.
I think I can pass that since I'm a CCL carrier.
Well, the big hurdle one person is having is 1,000
Yankees
subscribers.
Patreon?
And you have to
They did?
Really?
Oh, jeez. That sucks.
And I'm furiously signing into.
That's what I'm doing also.
Already there. Well, I see it.
Popped up in my search results.
1,881 patrons.
Who's got 1,000 patrons?
Yankee.
Yankee.
That's it. He's gone down. He was up at like 2,500.
1881, it says.
Oh, he posted a video.
Of course, that doesn't mean he can get to his money.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah.
But the channel's still there, looks like.
Still saying I can become a patron.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Wasn't he moving some stuff over to Subscribestar anyway?
I didn't think he was. I thought he was anti that.
Or was he?
I don't know.
I don't know. Where did he put?
It depends.
Hold on a minute.
What
Hold on a minute. I haven't been paying very good attention. Did something happen to Yankees Patreon as well as the Indiegogo thing he was doing?
That's what we just heard.
Yeah. When did he put out the video? Because he's got a video out that Ernest Langdon is a jerk. That was 5 hours ago.
That's all I see.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, man.
Kinky's got inside knowledge, though. You know, Kinky's in love with Yankees.
They won't do payouts. Yeah.
Interesting.
So they froze his funds for it?
No idea. We're going off of what Kinky's telling us in the chat here, and I'm not seeing it.
2 days ago, maybe 3. How did we all miss that?
It's a full-out assault on gun people, I tell you.
Well, that's Backyard Range. Disappoints viewers. Perfect Battle Belt. Ultimate Glock Killer.
He was reported to Patreon for using the money for buying guns for people.
So
I thought he did that by separate.
I think he's talking about a post that Yankee put up from like a flashback a long time ago from like, that was Dick's when Yankee first started that project. It was a long time ago. That was like one of those things that they throw up as a flashback. I think you're getting that confused. It's not something that's happened recently. He's making fun of Dick's for screwing with him a long time ago.
Live chat on Friday.
The Crazy Scotsman had his GoFundMe or Patreon or whatever kind of account he was using for the It's All About Jack crowdfunding thing he was doing. As soon as they found out he was giving away uppers, they shut it down.
That was PayPal.
Okay, yeah, PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal will definitely shut it down, and that's where people are running into. That's where people are running into the problem with Patreon too, is because Patreon processes everything through PayPal. And Sarge, I may or may not have bought an Elite SC. Possibly, probably did.
Are you guys going to talk about that new gun Snob's talking about in the side chat publicly?
Snob talking
We're not
about
supposed to talk in the internal chat here. He's bragging about that gun he just bought. We're not supposed to talk about that.
Oh no, you're not supposed to brag about that because yeah, Kimber's for Karen.
I just say, what's he showing for now?
Kimber's for Karen. Hashtag Kimber's for Karen. Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about the gun that Snob just bought.
Can I block you? It's got that option.
Probably. Hey, Sarge, do you know where I can get a 507C for that Elite SC? Nope.
It better be in the mail halfway between North Carolina and Oklahoma. That's all I'm saying. He asked for my address, so I'm assuming it is.
You know, you probably get it before Kinky gets his stuff.
Yeah, Kinky's there waiting at the post office with me.
All right. All right. See you, budget. Should have spoke up. Would give you
All right, see you, bud.
your plugs. I think we're gonna run it through the room and and get out of here too. 507C won't fit.
No, that takes the small footprint. Shield RMSC or the J point.
Ah, crap. So it wouldn't be the same one that you'd get if you put on if you did a slide cut on a 320 or a Glock 19.
Probably not.
Or do they make adapter plates? Because they go on a plate, right?
Yeah. I mean, the J point, I think, will go on anything. It just takes a different cut. But if you get the cut done, it's going to take whatever one it's cut for. Whatever footprint it's cut for.
Yeah, we'd have to research that.
But I think they use their own cut. The Shield RMSC and the J point is the same cut.
Okay.
So it's a smaller footprint than the RMR, which is the 507C and several others. And you got the doctor cut. And
so we're in like the Betamax and VHS.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they would just say the RMR is what everybody's going to go with and be done. Except for the micros probably are always going to stay smaller because they got to be a smaller footprint for the smaller guns.
Yeah, but couldn't they make a plate? Because they
Somebody probably does.
They go onto a plate, right? The sights go onto a plate, and then the plate goes
only if it's like a MOS Glock. If you have it cut, it just goes on.
It just goes right into the. No, okay. One more thing, but let's run it through the room and get the hell out of here so I can quit talking. So we'll start where we're finished on the introductions, and we'll go the opposite way and come back. So Gizzard, what do you got to plug, sir?
Well, let's see. First off, I'd like to once again thank everybody for their effort. I really appreciate it. Check out Foul Territory Friday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. I'm going to try to get out some more gear videos as soon as I can get them together, hopefully this week. And give them the bird, everybody. Thanks for the invite.
No problem. Thanks for coming in, Gizzard. Kingpin, how about you, sir?
Oh, man, thanks for having me. Everybody have a good night, and tell at least one person about the two-way rally.
There we go. Yeah, we didn't cover the two-way rally. That's my fault. secondmenrally.com. Go check it out. I've got a post up on Instagram. A lot of people have gotten videos out there. I know Budget did a video for it. There's plenty of them out there. Go check out the two-way rally Instagram and follow them. Get some updated information there. So
I didn't think we were going to talk about the 2A rally in Washington, D.C. on November the 2nd.
No, we're actually going to talk about the two-way rally in Washington, D.C. on November 2nd. So I'm going. Kingpin's going. Snob is possibly going. I think Sarge and a buddy by him are gonna carpool if Snob can't make it, and they're gonna go up there. Budget, I know, is going. He's got Ohio 45, I believe, is going with him, and a couple of other people. So G was maybe going to get there. Are you still efforting to get there, G?
What are we talking about? That get together in Washington?
Yeah, that get together in Washington. Are you still trying to get out to that?
We'll see how things happen. We'll see how it happens. We'll see how it goes.
All right. But yes, if you're planning on going, go. If you're thinking about going, go. Because this may be a one-time thing. It may turn into something. Who knows? But let's get out there and make sure that they see that we're not just, standing in the shadows. Let's get out there and get in the light and let them know that there are plenty of gun owners out there. So thanks for coming in, Kingpin. Night Strike, you've been awful quiet, but I know that you're working there on the tubes, trying to get everything going. So you got anything you want to plug
All I want to plug is freedom and guns. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in, even though you were uncustomarily quiet. But I know you're working diligently to get the gun tube back up and running. So
Yeah, it's been rough.
yeah, I can only imagine. So hopefully it gets a little better for you and gets up and going, and everything is nice and spiffy and brand new. But thanks for coming in.
No problem.
G, you got closing plugs? You got a little project going, don't you?
I do, but I'd like to plug the dam because it's getting kind of wet in here.
Well, I can turn off the pump, and then the waterfall doesn't
Hashtag
work
private
anymore.
water feature.
I was going to say plug the dike, but I didn't want to be rude. It's a Saturday.
Didn't like that. Never mind.
Come on, give us a plug for your almanac out there.
Everybody knows about the almanac. Thanks for everybody who's been promoting it and sharing it. It's doing well. Thank you.
All right. And you've also got your Glocktober patches up there that you were using to hopefully get the money to go to the 2A. So if you haven't gone out there and got your Glocktober patch, go get your Glocktober patch. If you absolutely need to, wait till next Friday and get it on Free Patch Friday. And I know G's going to send you some awesome stuff in there with it. So thanks for coming in, G. Roll call.
You bet. Thanks.
What do you got coming up, Roll call?
This show sucks.
Yes, it does.
I got some videos out there. Go watch those videos on my YouTube channel. Go to my Patreon. That would help me get to this 2A rally November 2nd in Washington, D.C. If anybody's driving through the state of Indiana, let me know. I'll carpool. But other than that, the show sucks, and I'm not glad that I was on it. So, yeah, go check out my channel.
Well, I'm not thanking you for coming in then. So, because this show sucks.
Okay. It doesn't suck, but it sucks.
It's still better than the closer, though, right?
Wow, that show is fucking horrible.
Okay.
Oh,
whoosh.
Oh, whoosh.
All right, Glimtech, what do you got going on? Anything? Just hanging in chats? You got a steel match tomorrow?
Steel match tomorrow. Thank you for the invite. God only knows why we still have freaking people watching this dumpster fire, but holy shit. But hey, support G. Go get Gizzard up at over 1,000. Matter of fact, support everybody that's on the panel. Thank you very much again for the invite.
Yep,
have a happy-go-lucky weekend.
Thank you for coming in.
Sure
people stick around because they like to stay warm. And
that's right.
Nothing keeps you warm like a dumpster fire.
Absolutely. So, and I'm sure we'll see most everybody hopefully tomorrow night.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Snob, what do you got? Make it quick.
Well, thanks for the invite, even though it was an hour late getting to me. But,
I don't know why it was an hour late getting to you. Shouldn't have
probably
been.
because I was asleep and didn't get to see it. But I'm still blaming you.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, thanks for having me. Even though I missed most of the show. Go watch my stuff.
You got anything to show?
No, I'm not showing anything today. I shot all day. A whole bunch.
Bunch of free ammo?
No, I paid for everything. Trust me. And it was expensive. Had some friends out and shot. Didn't even get out of camera all day.
Really?
No, just shot. Just had fun.
Just shot. It's nice to go out there and do that sometimes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't go out and just shoot for fun anymore. Every time I go out and shoot, I take a camera.
So now I got my office as a complete disaster. There's guns laying everywhere, and bags of guns laying everywhere. And yeah, it pretty much is, but nothing's hanging up. Nothing's back in the safe. Nothing's been cleaned. Which, not that I really clean them anyways, but.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in when you eventually came in.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me when you eventually sent me a link.
All right. Well, thanks everybody out there in the chat. Thanks to everybody here on the panel. Go check out my stuff and my things. In case anybody out there hasn't heard, Full 30 opened up to everybody. So if you're watching us here on YouTube, you can probably find most of your content creators are now over on Full 30 if they went over there and got in. Gizzard's been over there for a while, but I know Snob, Sarge, and myself just got over there. So go over there, throw us a sub over there if you're on it, and check out GunTube when Night Strike gets that back up, and throw subs out there. Other than that, thank you everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for being in here. My voice is going, so I'm calling it. Good night, everybody. Get your plugs in.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Jack. Him and
How do I turn
Thanks
this
so
thing
much for
off? Do I
dinner.
have to turn this thing off on YouTube first? And then turn it off on
Yeah, that's the way I do it.
Okay.
You can do either or.
So I stopped